Excel is really good at three things: charts, lists and calculations. In this video we're going to learn how to enter simple calculations into an Excel spreadsheet. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet we're going to use. Here are 3 rows of items which might appear on an invoice, in an inventory, or even on a shopping list, especially if it was Christmas and you were shopping for those members of your family who were just too difficult to buy for. We're going to work out the cost of 15 red hats at $15.75 each, 12 green scarves at $12.45 and 9 blue slippers at $8.75. I assume that last one is 9 pairs of slippers, otherwise Auntie Susie is going to have a cold left foot. Let's start with the red hats. We could enter 15 times $15.75 into the cost box, and that would give the right answer. But that isn't the best way to work with Excel. Every time the quantity changed or the price changed, we would have to amend the calculation. This can get very tedious, and as you will find out, I am not a big fan of anything in Excel that is tedious or time consuming. A much better approach is to teach Excel how to do the calculation. In that way, every time the price or the quantity changes, Excel will update the calculation. This is called recalculation, and Excel is set up to do this automatically. If that's starting to sound a little complicated, don't worry, it's actually really easy to teach Excel what you want it to do with a set of numbers. All you have to do is tell Excel where the numbers are and what you want to do with them. Back to those red hats. The quantity of red hats is in box C4. That's the column letter followed by the row number. The price for a single red hat is in box D4. To calculate the total cost of red hats, all we have to do is tell Excel to multiply the contents of box C4 by the contents of box D4. Let's see how that might look. We could try entering this formula into the cost box, but we would come up against 2 quite separate problems. So what could possibly be wrong with entering C4 x D4 into the cost box? The first problem Excel has is that it doesn't understand the multiplication sign we have used. It thinks we are typing the letter X. All computers have this problem, and they all solve it by using an asterisk or star character to represent multiplication. There we go, one problem solved. While we're on the subject, computer keyboards don't include the divide sign we're all used to from our school days. So computers always use the forward-leaning slash to indicate division. The second problem is that Excel looks at the mixture of text and numbers we've typed, and it doesn't understand that this particular combination is meant to be a calculation. In Excel, this is always solved in the same way. We just make sure that all calculations start with an equals character. To Excel, this means here comes a calculation. Now we have a calculation that Excel will understand, we can add it to our spreadsheet. When entering calculations into an Excel spreadsheet, I suggest you follow the 4 golden rules that make it much more likely that the calculation is going to be entered correctly. First of all, start where you want the answer to go. For the red hats, we want the answer to appear in cell E4. I can select this by clicking with the mouse or using the cursor keys. This time I clicked with the mouse. Rule number 2. Make sure the calculation starts with an equals sign. This usually means you have to type it in yourself, and that's what I'm going to do this time. Rule 3. Don't type in the cell addresses yourself. For much greater accuracy, speed and reliability, use a visual method to show Excel where the numbers are that you want to work with. Again, this can be done with the mouse or the keys. This time I'm going to use the mouse. When I click on the box containing the number of red hats, Excel works out where it is and starts to build the calculation for me. Next step in the formula is a multiply sign. Don't forget that we have to use an asterisk to signify multiplication. If you look on the far right hand side of your keyboard, you may be able to see keys for plus, minus, multiply and divide arranged around the numeric keypad. All these keys don't need the shift key, so they're usually the easiest ones to use. If you can't find them, please don't return your computer to your supplier, as not all keyboards have these extra keys. They are usually notably missing on laptops. The last part of this formula involves showing Excel where the cost of a red hat can be found. I can do this by clicking on the box containing 1575. Excel works out that it needs to refer to D4. We're almost finished now. The last of the 4 golden rules describes how you finish off your calculation. Always finish your calculation by pressing the Enter or the Return key. There are other ways a formula can be finished, but they don't always have the expected effect, so stick to Enter or Return. This time I'm going to press the Enter key. The next calculation is entered in the same way. Select the cell where the answer needs to appear, type in an equal sign, click on each of the numbers with the mouse, not forgetting the multiply sign of course, and finish off with the Enter key. The last calculation is just more of the same. Just to finish things off, it might be nice to calculate the total cost of all 3 purchases. Let's put a title in first, as it's always a good idea to have every value on a spreadsheet labelled in some way. The total calculation is even easier than the ones we've done already. It's just the cost of the red hats, plus the cost of the green scarves, plus the cost of the blue slippers. Following the golden rules, I'm going to select the cell for the answer. I'm going to type in an equal sign. Then to enter the calculation itself, I click on each item in turn and simply add a plus sign between them to encourage Excel to add them up. Yes, and you guessed it, I finished the whole thing off with the Enter key. So, now you know how to create simple calculations in Excel. The next thing you should do is to spend some time practicing your newfound skills. Start with something easy and relevant to the sort of things that you would like to do with the spreadsheet, or try some of the examples in the list below. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to comment on this or any of the other learning resources on this site, and it would help me greatly if you could use the buttons below to assess at what level you think this video should be advertised.